Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. For those that are celebrating Easter, happy Easter. I hope everybody's enjoying their day. So, my name's Nioka Lynn. I came on here to share a few things. So, I've been asked, what exactly do you mean by that Yeshua came here to show us how powerful we are? What makes us powerful? Well, being in alignment makes us powerful. Alignment? What do you mean by alignment? Aligning with what? Aligning with Source, God. Yes, aligning with your higher self, your true nature. So, how do we do that? Now, I've heard in my younger days through many pastors, preachers, so on and so forth, they would talk to me about, in prophecy, they would tell me, oh, you are called, you are chosen. Okay, great. But what does that mean exactly? If you're called to do something in your life, it's my understanding that that was your intention upon entering, that you came here to share something, to share yourself, or just to learn and elevate. Okay. Experience life. You know that sometimes that's just all it takes is just come here, experience life. But if I am chosen and called to do something, would I not have to be taught or trained or conditioned? So how does that happen? Well, what do you mean trained and conditioned? If you were born into a family that needed a lot of healing and you experienced a lot of pain, you have a choice. That wasn't by accident. I just want y'all to know that's not an accident. That doesn't mean that you were just this unloved child, this misfit or whatever, and now the rest of your life is destroyed because you can't get past that. And I'm not trying to be ugly, I promise. I promise. Because for a long while I was boo-hoo, feel sorry for myself because of some of the things I had to endure. I was blessed enough to have other family members that stepped in and helped me out. Now, does that mean that my mom, my dad, whoever was just these horrible people? No, not really. Not in the depth of it. They were who I chose. Those were the folks that I chose because I knew I was going to need them to propel me into something that I needed to explore in my life. Does it mean it felt good? Does it mean that I should just let it all go? No, it means that you learn by it. A lot of people will say, well, I was abandoned. I was abandoned. And, they were just horrible people and I just feel some sort of way about them. Well, you were supposed to. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be abandoned, but you were supposed to feel some sort of way. That's why they showed up in your life. That's why they were part of your experience in this incarnation. And what does that mean? Well, maybe if you were abandoned, maybe you're strong now. Maybe the thing that you were called for, you were going to need that strength to know that you can stand alone. Yeah. Maybe you were lied to or lied on continuously. What does that cause you to do? For many years. Oh my God. I just realized this not long ago. My mom used to lie on me. And what was so significant about that was it got me, I call it a whooping. Yeah. And I could never understand why she would lie on me. And I remember the day that I blurted out, she's lying. Well, I got whooped a little more because I called my mom a liar. But my mom used to lie on me. or she would exaggerate something and I would get in trouble. So through the years, I have found over and over that people would lie on me. And over, I would try to explain myself. I would try to cover all the points, trying to prove my truth. And people would choose to believe a lie over my truth. And I used to just, for the longest time. So not so long ago here, I've discovered that this is something that was orchestrated to teach me something. It was to teach me to stand in my truth. Yeah, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or says. I have to stand in my truth. So that's what that lesson was. So if my true power is being in alignment with who I truly am, be in alignment with God, Source, how do I go about doing that? Well, I could have taken all those lies that were said about me and that people believed, and I could have got bitter. I could have got vengeful. How many times in relationships have people been hurt some kind of way, and now they want vengeance? Now they want to see that other person suffer, because something happened between them. Well, if someone lied on me, I used to get my feelings hurt. I used to get my feelings hurt really bad. Like, why would they lie on me? And I was just nothing but good to that person. Or why would they choose to lie on me? And why would people choose to believe it? And then you find yourself overly trying to explain yourself. And then you see something where it says, well, people that try to like overly explain themselves are trying to cover something up. They're lying. And I just lost it. I was like, what? So anyway, yeah, it taught me to stand in my truth. Now, I could have chose to get bitter and ugly. I could have chose to strike out or whatever, but I want to stay in alignment. So by staying in alignment, I don't strike out. Well, why wouldn't I strike out? Because I don't want to keep repeating this. I want to learn something. What is this showing me? This is how I stay in alignment. This is how I discover my true power and who I am. So somebody hurts you, whatever it is. Someone's lied on you, someone's used or abused you or whatever. Now, let me just throw this in there. If somebody is physically abusing you, get up out of there. Deuces, out. Yeah. They need to heal. You need to heal now. So anyway. So, again, someone's hurt you some way, lied on you, cheated on you, whatever. Now you have a choice. Do I stand back and ask myself, why did this show up in my life? It showed up. Nothing comes in your life to hurt you. A lesson doesn't come to hurt you. A lesson comes to teach you something about yourself. Something you wanted to explore, something maybe you needed to evolve in. All kind of factors. So you could step back and say, okay, why did this show up in my life? What in me provoked that behavior from somebody else? Or you could strike out, take vengeance, have a fit, do all kind of ugly things. It might feel good for the moment, but I promise you, it's not going to keep feeling good, because what happens is now you're out of alignment, because now you want vengeance. Now you want to hurt somebody because they hurt you. Now you just really want to see them suffer. Well, what's going to happen? What you put out, I promise you, what you put out, you get back. It does not make you weak to not strike out. That doesn't make you weak. Try it. It takes all the strength you can muster. I promise. So if you do strike out, you're going to repeat that lesson. It may not be with the same person, but I promise you, there's going to be a person, a situation to show up, you're going to have to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. Why? What if you are called and chosen? You got to be trained and conditioned. Trained and conditioned for what? You talk to anybody that's been on a battlefield. Ask them. If you don't follow your training, if you don't follow the orders, and you're in a combat situation, a hostile situation, and you don't do as you've been trained, what happens? You get slaughtered. You get slaughtered, and sometimes you put others in jeopardy. Yeah, you put others in jeopardy around you. So, that's your true power, staying in alignment. Well, how can I stay in alignment? Okay. How can I possibly just keep doing that? I mean, it hurts. This person's done this. Okay. Again, this person showed up in your life for a reason, to show you something about yourself. Now you can make choices. Everybody has that choice. You can strike out, or you can step back and say, why is this showing up in my life? What is this thing trying to show me about me? I can't emphasize that enough. I know I keep repeating it, but it's so true. That's how you stay in alignment. And then once you conquer that thing, you'll bask in the knowledge and the victory over it, and then there'll be something else. You're being conditioned. What am I being conditioned for? Well, maybe you chose to be part of this ascension. You knew that the world was going to be full of chaos. The chaos is happening because things are being uncovered, okay? In people, in governments, in the world. Things are being uncovered, and it's ugly right now. So you're being conditioned at an early age in your childhood trauma, okay? You're being conditioned to be able to help later. But you first have to combat, I hate to say combat, I guess you just have to realize that, hey, all this pain that I went through at a very early age, what did it do for me? Did I grow from it? Because I'm going to tell you honestly, if you don't transmute the pain, you put it out there. Everything you do, your focus, your perception of things, if you don't fix the pain, if you don't heal from the pain inside, if you don't transmute that pain, you're going to transmit it. You're going to transmit it on your children. You're going to transmit it on your family, your friends. Your life, your whole life will be controlled from that perception of that pain. Well, so-and-so hurt me, I can't trust people. If you get too close to people, that's going to happen. They're just going to crap all over you. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. You have to fix the pain. You have to address the pain. And I'm not saying to get all caught up in it and go pay tons of dollars on some psychiatrist's couch or sign up for meetings where divorcees, the pain they... No, that's wallowing in it. You don't want to wallow in it. You want to transmute it, address it. What behavior in me is fear-based? What behavior in me is keeping me out of alignment of my true self? Sign up for an enlightenment class. Get around people that are doing the work. Get around happy people. Yeah. So that's your true power, to be able to turn things that didn't feel so good, turn them around, flip it. Okay, so this has shown up in my life. How can I turn this into a positive? I can learn from it. I can see where in me it came from. There was something that happened to me when I think I was 12 or 13. Okay, so I'm going to share this story. I don't like to keep talking about this story, but I'm going to share this story. It was my birthday. My family came over two of my favorite people, my grandmother and my aunt. So they came over, we had my birthday, and we always had it on a Sunday because, my dad worked, other people worked. My mom made a big meal, and I can tell you what we had. We had meatloaf because that was my birthday wish for my dinner. I love meatloaf, mashed potatoes. Well, used to. Um, so we had dinner, we had cake and ice cream, and there was presents. There was presents. Oh, we always got presents. So the present from my mom and my dad was this outfit. It was a deep lavender color. There was the vest, the skirt, and the pants. And then there was a white blouse. And back then, you had the big collar, the big poofy sleeves, the big cuffs. Yeah. And I was so excited by this outfit. I loved the outfit. And my mom told me, she said, okay, tomorrow for school, I want you to wear that outfit. She says, wear the skirt and wear the vest with the blouse. And I had just gotten some boots as well, so I could wear this to school. So my dad said, you're not wearing that skirt. It's too short. And he laughed. Now my dad, I've learned as I'm older to really appreciate him. When I was a child, I couldn't see some of the stuff, the wounds or whatever. But he was a very hard worker. And he wasn't really like an emotional person. And when he laughed and joked with you, it was kind of rare, because my poor dad, he was tired all the time. He worked. Man worked hard. And that was his love language, I believe, to provide for his family. So he kept laughing. You're wearing that skirt, it's too short, ha ha ha. And my mom would laugh. And I'm looking back and forth. Something, it's okay, they're just joking with me. So that night, my mom said to me, she said, it's late. Because we had company, all day and part of the evening. She says, it's late. She said, I don't want you to iron tonight. Because we used to have to get our clothes ready for the next morning and prepare for the morning. She says, just get your shower and get in bed. She says, get up in the morning, and she says, iron your skirt, your blouse, and your vest. I was so excited. Well, morning came, and I was excited I was going to wear my new outfit to school. I ran out into the kitchen. My dad was sitting at the table doing his normal reading the paper, drinking coffee with orange juice and wheat germ all the time. And I set up the ironing board, and he said, what are you doing? Now, I know this was unusual because this was not the normal schedule. So I said, well, Mom told me to iron my clothes for school this morning because it was so late last night when we got to bed. What are you ironing? I said, my new outfit. He says, what are you ironing? I said, my vest, my skirt, and my blouse. He flipped the table over. Everything went flying, and it wasn't pretty after that. And he kept saying, I told you you weren't going to wear that skirt. It was too short. So I got my whooping. My mom never came out of her bedroom. We didn't live in a mansion. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch house. She never once came down the hall and put up for me. I felt like I was set up. I felt like I was betrayed. That stuck with me for a very long time, that frequency of betrayal. Yeah. So what happened? If I have a frequency of betrayal in me, I'm going to keep attracting people that are going to betray me until I take a look at it and say, okay, and realize what it is. That was something I had to work through. It stuck with me for a very long time, being betrayed. Yeah. So now I have a choice. Here I am, grown old adult. I'm not old. Here I am, a mature woman, and I can sit here and I can say, oh, woe is me. I've been hurt so bad, and I have numerous times. I could feel sorry for myself and play victim. And in doing so, I just attract more situations that I'm going to call that into my life. Or I can fix it and say, okay, I can look at it like this. I came in this world wanting to experience something, to experience life. And I chose a certain theme that I would like to explore and experience. Along my path, there are going to be people. Along my path, there's going to be circumstances, situations. A lot of them aren't going to feel so good. But I know the master creator that I am through my thoughts and emotions, my focus, I was going to sail right through that. Well, not everything just sailed right through, but I've been taught. And everybody, I hear a lot of spiritual people say, oh, religion. Well, whatever. I get it. I get the dogma. I understand. But it's where I started. It's where I started. And I was taught some things. I was guided along the way. So I don't care what religion you're in. I don't care where you're at in your life. If you truly have a desire to overcome, I promise you, if you know, don't sit there and say, oh, I hope it's true. No, know it. Know it because you are a divine being. You are a beautiful, beautiful extension of source energy, God. So I promise you, you can connect to source just as well as anybody. But you got to get still. Get still. Put your petition, your prayer, your request, whatever. Put it out there. Show me. Show up in my life. If you're really real, show me. All the things that I was taught, all the messages along the way, I hung on to every word. Every word I hung on to. And it just brought me further and further and further. So all those people that say, oh, you were called, you're chosen, you are chosen of God. I love it. What am I chosen for? I went through my battles. I've been taught, I've been conditioned, I've been trained. So what good is it? What good is it? Now I could sit in my little apartment with all my knowledge, with all my teaching, or I could share it. I could share it and I could say to you, hey, you don't have to be miserable and in pain. Hey, you can transmute that stuff. Hey, you can have victory and start enjoying your life. Hey, know who you really are. And for all my religious folks, even the word says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you're trapped, if you think you're doomed, if you think you're cursed, if you think you're miserable, you are. The power of life and death is in your tongue. Life sucks. I can't do it. I can't do this. Nothing ever works out for me. Guess what? The power of life and death is in the tongue. Yeah. What I was taught in the scriptures was life and death was not a physical state of mind, a state of being. It was a state of mind. Life is peace and abundance of peace. Death is the lack of. Life is where God's source is. That's where you're connected. Death is where God's not. There is no physical death. Not, well, your body will pass, but you'll continue forever, because once you exist, dear soul, you always exist. So that's where your true power is, in alignment. The things that don't feel good in your life, the behaviors that keep showing up in you, if you're fearful, untrusting, if you have a bad perception about things, it doesn't make you bad. Just step back, take a look at it. You don't have to dwindle there and just get stuck in the muck. Don't get stuck in the muck. Say, you know what, this behavior does not serve me. I need to let this go. Yeah, this doesn't serve me, because me thinking this is just creating more of this in my life. That's where your power's at. You are powerful. You are a powerful creator. You are. You're creating all the time. Whether you know it or not, you are creating every second by your frequency. So let's get in alignment. You're not going to stay there 24/7, I promise. Because there's going to be things that are going to show up in your life that aren't going to feel good, and you're going to be set back. And you're going to have to deal with those. Don't get bitter. Get better. It doesn't matter if your mom and dad or auntie or grandma or whatever believed a certain way and did certain things. Be you. Be your authentic you. Don't worry about what anybody thinks about it. Get yourself connected. Be conscious of source. You're a beautiful soul. Abundance of love and everything else is your birthright. Do you know when you're in a perfect alignment? Excuse me, when you're in a perfect alignment, all that is meant for you, all the gifts meant for you just flow to you freely. But when you're not, it's like a kink in the hose. Kink in the hose. So you got to find out where's my kink at? What's kinking my hose? Okay, so that's my little 2 cents on that today. So if you want to be powerful, if you want a powerful, enriched, beautiful life, get in alignment. Get rid of the thoughts that don't serve you. The behaviors that don't serve you. Stop blaming everybody around you. Stop striking out and trying to hurt everybody around you because they didn't make you feel good. Stop wishing ill on people. Well, I didn't do anything. What you put out, you get back. If you want to see somebody else fail, that comes back to you. Your intentions. Your frequency don't lie. You cannot hide. You can stand around and smile. You can sit there and look like, class citizen. But if your frequency says you got something going on in there that's out of alignment, you're going to attract that in your life. You can tell a tree by its fruit. Okay, that's it for today. I've said enough. My name's Nioka Lynn. I hope that you learn how to be the powerful being that you are on purpose. I hope and pray that you learn how to be in true alignment. And I hope and pray that when things show up in your path, you know how to address them. We can do this. We're raising the vibration. My name is Nioka Lynn. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Namaste.